So we have question one, paper two, January 2021. For question one, it's about aggregate demand and aggregate supply, which talks about potential economic growth. When it comes to potential economic growth, it simply means that the long aggregate supply curve is going to shift to the right without putting pressure on the price level, which means with less inflation. So it's not going to be A, because A is showing that there's an increase in aggregate demand and an increase in the price level. It's not going to be A, and there's no rightward shift in the long aggregate supply. It's not going to be B, because B is about short-run aggregate supply. The answer is C, because C shows that there's a rightward shift in the LRAS from LRAS1 to LRAS2, and there's a fall in the price level from PL1 to PL2, and there's an increase in the real output from Y1 to Y2. And it's not D, because D is all about short-run aggregate supply. So question one is A, is C. Question two, so the table shows the PPI, and for the PPI, it shows that the price level is falling, and if the price level is falling, consumer prices are likely to fall too. So the answer for question two is C. It is not A, because a real income, if the real income level out, if the real income of household fall, then it means they won't even be able to buy goods and services. And it's not cost push inflation, because here, if there's cost push inflation, prices are expected to rise, not fall. And the central bank was likely to raise the base rate of interest. If the base rate of interest increases, it's also going to bring about cost push inflation. So it is not A, it's not B, it's not C. The answer is D. Question three, they said, which one of the following is most likely to cause a deterioration in the developed country's trade balance? Trade balance is just the difference between the export of goods and import of goods. So deterioration will come if, one, let's check, an increase in the non-price competitiveness of a country's product, like quality of exportation, that would bring about improvement in exports. So it will improve the balance of trade. It's not A. A fall in the real income of country citizens. If real income falls, it means people will not be able to spend on importation, and that also improves the balance of payment. It's not B. A fall in non-price competitiveness of a major trading partner. That would also reduce importation, so it's not going to bring about deterioration. An increase in the country exchange rates. An exchange rate is the price of a country's currency in respect to other countries' currencies. So a rise in exchange rates means that the price of importation becomes cheaper compared to exportation, which becomes expensive. So people will be able to do more of importation, because exporting from foreign firms or from foreign businesses becomes cheaper. And that would bring about a deterioration to the balance of payments. So question three is D. Question four. Question four is about the circular flow of income. Okay, for question four. Okay, it's about savings. When we save more, saving ratio, that's the percentage of, or the proportion of what people can, save rather than spend. So if you are not saving, that means you are consuming. So based on what we have here, in 2014, there's an increase in saving compared to 2019, which has fallen. So it means consumption has increased over time. So it's not about exports, it's not unemployment, it's not withdrawals. So question four is A. It's not about exportation. And for unemployment, if unemployment increases, then consumption would fall. Then saving would rather increase. And withdrawals, it's not withdrawals, because withdrawals is part of saving. So that's question four. So question four is A. Go to question five. Said which of the following statement about the Keynesian long run aggregate supply curve is correct? The curve is perfectly inelastic at full employment level of real output, because it's all about full employment and inflation. So question five is A. Done. Question six. Question is about the circular flow of income. So we have injection, we have withdrawals. According to this graph, the total injection here is 651,000, and here is 751,150. So we have more withdrawals than injection. So which one of only can be concluded from the data? The economy has a government budget surplus. There's surplus if taxation, which is revenue, exceeds spending. But here, spending exceeds taxation, which is deficit. There's a net withdrawal out of the economy. When we look at withdrawals here, withdrawal is 1,150 and injection is 1,000. So that means there's more of withdrawal than injection. So there's net withdrawal because withdrawal is more than injection. So the answer is B. The economy has a balance of trade surplus. There's no balance of trade surplus here because import exceeds export. It's a deficit also. And there's a net injection into the economy. No, there's no net injection because injection is less than withdrawals. It is only when injection is more than withdrawal we have net injection. So question 6 is B. Question 7. Question 7 talks about economic growth rates. So as we can see that in 2014 and 2015, there's a negative economic growth rate, and 2016 to 2018, there's a positive economic growth rate. So a positive one shows that the economy is increasing in terms of output, and negative shows that the economy is declining, its output is decreasing over time. That's question 7. Now question 8, we're supposed to draw a long energy supply curve, which is drawn already. We have Y, and because there's a fall in productivity will shift the real output leftward, and the price level will rise over time from Y to Y1, the real output. Then the price level would rise from from PL to PL1. And we have our long energy supply curve, LRAS, LRAS, a leftward shift. That's question 8. So go to question 9. Are you with me now? So go to question 9. They said,
calculate the index number of personal disposable income.
calculate the table shows the average value of personal disposable income in China. What's disposable income?
It's the income you have after being taxed, like the income you can spend.
The amount of money you can spend or save. That's income, disposable income. The income that can either be spent or saved, okay? So they said using 2018 as a base year. 2018 as a base year. We are so to 2018 as a base year, that's 39251. Okay? We're told to calculate an index number of personal disposable income in 2014, showing the working. So our base year will be 2014 over 2018 multiplied by 100, right?
Yep.
2014, which is 29,381 divided by 2018, which is the base year, 39,251 multiplied by 100. That gives you 74.9. 74.9, okay? We go to question 10. Are you there? Yep. For question 10, they said, in August 2019, the American President Donald Trump criticized America's central bank. He said that the US economy was healthy because there was no inflation and that it was decisions made by the central bank that were limiting economic growth. Explain one role of the central bank. First, what is the central bank? Lo, what's the central bank?
Central bank is the apex bank of a country.
Our country, okay? So one role of the central bank is what? Implementation of monetary policies. So the central bank use various monetary policies instruments, such as interest rates, asset purchase schemes, or the exchange rate. High interest rate, low, can lead to limiting economic growth. So, okay, Donald Trump said, the central bank is pulling the economy backward, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So a high interest rate can lead to limiting economic growth. Why and how? How will a high interest rate bring about economic decline? That is what you're saying.
How an interest rate would bring about a
How will a rise in, you say a high interest rate can lead to limiting economic growth? And how?
okay. So think about how I should put this.
Yeah, I'm with you.
So we can agree that a high interest rate means that there's a high cost for lending and borrowing money, right?
Okay.
So when there's a high interest rate, people would be discouraged to borrow money,
Okay.
which means that they would either not spend, rather save, not spend, or let's just say they would just save their disposable income or be more like be more careful about their spendings. So that would limit the consumption, and therefore the firms would be discouraged. Like the firms will, since like people don't buy as much as they used to do, they won't. Firms would make less profits, so they would reduce their investment, and that would bring about a fall in the economic growth.
So as soon as interest rate increases, firms that usually borrow for investment
Would not borrow
will be
or would
disincentivized to borrow, and that means output in that from that sector would reduce.
Mhm.
Okay, that's question 10.
eat less.
Question 11. So the chart shows two estimates made by the International Monetary Fund of the size of the French economy output gap for the year 1994 to 2017. We have it. Okay, the output gap, the final estimate of output gap, okay. So with reference to this chart, there's one reason why it might be difficult to measure the size of an economy's output gap. What's the output gap?
Output gap is the difference between the potential output and the actual output in an economy.
Potential output and the actual output within the economy. Okay, just hold on, please. To do this. So for output gap, we said is what? The difference between the actual and the maximum potential output of an economy. So why is it difficult to estimate the maximum output? Why? We said there may be inaccurate data on the labor force, for example, difficulties in measuring the scale of labor migration. So one of the reasons why he said, one of the reasons why it might be difficult to measure output gap is because of inaccuracy in data. What will bring about inaccuracy in data? Why do you think there's inaccuracy in data?
Because sometimes governments would tend to not update their data. Also, sometimes it can be politically manipulated to portray the country. Yeah.
Okay. Question 12. We have a case study for question 12. Let me quickly go down to the case study. Figure 1. Said the economy of Philippines. Figure 1 standard of living indicators for the Philippine economy selected years from 2000 to 2018. So we have 2000, 2005, 2010, 2015, 2018. Now, back to the question. They said, define the term PPP, purchasing power parity. It said it measures the total amount of goods and services that a single unit of a country's currency can buy in another country. So the value of dollar in Libya and what it could buy compared to the value of $1 in America, what it
Yeah.
could buy. Is that purchasing power parity?
Yes.
Good. Now, that's purchasing power parity. Okay. That's question 12A. Then 12B, they said, with reference to figure 1, explain the difference between GDP per capita and GNI per capita. What's GDP?
GDP is a measure of growth, or like the total amount of goods and services generated in an economy.
Then GDP per capita is what?
It's the GDP divided by the population.
The GNI,
GNI, Miss, why are you asking me when I already wrote it?
what's GNI? I'm not saying GNI per capita.
GNI, it's like the total income generated by a country's citizens in a period of time.
So GNI is total income generated by a country's citizens in a period of time divided by that's GNI per capita.
Yeah. I think I wrote per capita.
Yeah, I see. Okay. GNI per capita is greater than GDP per capita here. So GNI is GDP plus what?
GNI is GDP plus income earned.
Okay. 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 GNI per capita is greater than GDP per capita in each year, indicating net inflows of primary income from outside the Philippines. So it means a lot of Philippines abroad
Send money.
send money into the Philippines. Okay. Question C. With reference to figure 1 again and analyze two limitations of using GNI per capita, PPP data to compare living standards in the Philippines between 2000 to 2018. What's living standard? It's an individual quality of life, okay? Yeah, it might be difficult because it only shows an average for the whole country, so may mask increased level of income inequality, which could imply to a falling or a stagnant standard of living for some groups. So the data may be inaccurate as the Philippines may not update their reporting often enough. It may be liable to potential political manipulation. Why is it political manipulation all through today? Political manipulation. Okay, that's good. Question D, extract A. Supply side reforms and economic growth. Despite global uncertainties, the Philippines economy remains strong. The World Bank has forecast that it will grow by 5.8% in 2019 and by 6% in both 2020 and 2021. Economic growth may slow in the first half of 2019. This may be explained by the weakening global economy, rising protectionism, and slowdown in public sector investment in the Philippines. However, levels of consumption should stay high. This is because of lower inflation rates, higher employment rate, and rising real wages. Also, more workers are finding jobs in industries other than agriculture. This has helped to increase the average income in the country. The continuing expansion of financial services and tourism in the Philippines means that the service sector is also likely to grow. So that means there is more of export of services. Okay. Okay, so the question now says, with reference to this information, which is more anyway, examine two reasons why the Philippine economy was forecast to grow from 2019 to 2020. Two reasons why the Philippines was forecast to grow are the following: one, higher employment rate which will increase average income in the Philippines, leading to increase in consumer confidence, okay? Government using a range of supply side policies. Government using a range of supply side policy. ISIS. Good. Very well, sir. So, government using a range of supply side policies will increase the economies, the country's productive economies, productive potential. Economies, the country is not the same.
Yes, same.
However, growth may be limited in 2019 due to the weakening global economy. It's an external factor. So external factor, external shock. Rising protectionism and slowdown in public sector investment. Now, let's go back to public sector investment. If there's a slowdown in public sector investment, what does that mean?
There's a slowdown.
In public sector investment, what does that mean?
Means that public services would be underprovided.
And if that happens,
Yeah.
does
If that
it
happens,
down
well, it really depends on how much the public sector is
contributing to the economy?
Yeah.
If the global economy continues to weaken, this will threaten the growth of the Philippines financial services and tourism sector. Okay. Let's see how many marks I can take away from this. There's no mark to take away. Unfortunately. What can I do? My hands are tied. Question D. They said discuss how supply side policies might help the Philippines to achieve economic growth. Supply side policies are designed to increase productivity, competition, and incentives in the economy. Okay. The supply side policy, aggregate supply will shift to rightward. Real output will increase. And why is the price level increasing too? Why will the price level increase? Tell me.
With supply side policies.
Yeah.
Well, it's because this price increase in supply side policies.
Because there's productivity now. So tell me, what happens to price?
Wait,
Wow.
you catch me off guard, but 1 second.
With productivity, price level is supposed to drop.
Ah,
Yeah.
you're checking me. I was like, why
Yeah,
why would
did
they
it.
say that? And
Yeah,
then,
this is what you did.
yeah.
Yeah, so at least 2 marks is off here.
Come
Yeah.
on, the whole thing is 2 marks. You should
Yeah,
declare
but
one
what
mark.
can I say? When you tell me that you are giving me the reverses, I don't understand. Yeah, there's productivity, and if productivity increases, cost is expected to fall, which will reduce price and real output. So let me take my mark, please. Thank you.
My mark, which is 1 mark.
2 marks because it's a graph. So the price level is expected to fall anyway from P to P1. But you indicated that it's going up. Overdose or what? Let's see. Then we go to question. Okay. The base of doing business low costs, may cut the cost of requesting for firms and increase competition in market, forcing firms to be more efficient. Okay. Greater competition in this retail trade sector should attract more overseas investment and boost productivity. Government spending on infrastructure investment projects has an opportunity cost. It may lead to more growth if spent on other sectors like education and healthcare.
The most important, education and healthcare.
Healthcare, yes, that's more important. The most, yes. But infrastructure is also important, trust me. Without infrastructure, you might not be able to attract TNC or MSCs, multinationals, MNCs, yeah, or foreign direct investment. It will be difficult because your country will not be, attractive for investment. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So you made only. Okay, foreign firms may take any profit earned in the Philippines out of the country, reducing any positive multiplier. That's repatriation, right? Repatriation. Okay, that's 12 marks. That is, I'm happy. Go to question 13. Are you there?
Mm,
Okay.
does it 13 or 14?
You did 13. From 2008 to 2018, Thailand GDP per capita increased by 100%. Over the same period, national happiness in Thailand also rose. However, from 2008 to 2018, India's GDP per capita increased by 80%, but national happiness fell. Why this contrasting situation? Evaluate the view that achieving a government macroeconomic objective is likely to result in an increase in national happiness. When one economy undergoes economic growth, like Thailand or India, real incomes are expected to rise, which raises happiness for low earners in particular. Growth may lead to higher government revenues and scope to spend on education, healthcare, which can increase national happiness. Okay, who can afford houses, afford education and healthcare. Okay, growth may allow countries to invest in green technology, leading to lower levels of pollution, raising happiness. Okay. Achieving stable inflation rate is likely to increase happiness as fluctuation may cause uncertainty. That makes sense. Low unemployment should mean that those who want to work are able to find jobs, boosting their income, skill level, social integration, and health. It may also reduce crime rates. Economic growth may require workers. Why is this all about economic growth? Okay, stable inflation. Okay. Economic growth may require workers to work more hours, reducing their leisure time and putting strain on personal relationships, what affects national happiness. Economic growth is likely to lead to rise in average incomes, but after a certain point, increase in income do not lead to national happiness. And why?
Diminishing. There's like, for example, I already have a TV, a nice TV. I don't need another one. So a rise in income won't affect me. Like the utility starts diminishing.
Okay. The very low unemployment rates may mean workers are not moving between jobs. Frictional unemployment to find roles more suited to them, constraining their happiness. So if they are unable to get the role that suits,
Maybe you're like working a job, but you don't like it.
mhm, but a low unemployment rate may mean workers are not moving. So if they are not moving, then you can't get the position. Okay. Reduction in government expenditure to achieve a balanced budget is going to decrease disposable income for individuals, reducing happiness. Why? Reduction in government expenditure. So if government expenditure is reducing, how does this reduce disposable income?
What?
You said reduction in government expenditure to
Yeah.
achieve a balanced
So
budget is going to
yeah,
decrease disposable income for
yeah.
individuals, reducing happiness. How does reduction in government expenditure brings about a fall in
Yeah.
disposable income,
It
which
means
will
that
affect the happiness?
it means that the the government may underprovide public goods. So or like stuff like education. So people would have to pay them from their pocket, which means that they would have less disposable income and spend on the stuff they usually don't spend money on that government already provides them.
Okay, so you're simply saying that with a fall in government expenditure, it simply is the same as saying a rise in government taxation. So subsidy is reducing. And if subsidy is reducing, prices are expected to rise. And if price increases, purchasing power of individuals would reduce. So what they are used to buying before previously becomes expensive for them, and that might bring about unhappiness. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay. So that's question 14. And that ends paper 2 of January 2021. I think 2021, paper 2, 20. I'm going to count now. I think I have some 5 marks.
5.
Yeah, I think so.
Oh,
I don't think so though.